We're going to talk about standing posture now. I'm not the biggest fan of the word posture because it correlates to a lot of static and still statues. We have so many pictures of correct posture, but we never see posture in movement. Even if we're talking about something like standing, I'm still moving. Even if I'm not moving throughout my environment, there's still blood that is going all throughout my body. I'm breathing in and out, and I'm slowly kind of making slight adjustments or slight movements. If you try to stand exactly still, notice how difficult it is for the body, and it actually is not the healthiest for us. But it's nice to hold more of a stillness posture, but allow for movement to happen. So we want to have general principles of our standing posture that allow us to move and embody a standing position that feels really good for us as we go through our days. So we're going to start with the feet. With the feet, we want to have a really strong base. If we don't have a strong base, it's going to be hard for anything on top of that to organize itself. If you already do not have inside ankle bone high good arches, if you're collapsed, you need to stand in a really good way. The best way to do this is to take your feet. We're going to pigeon toe. I'm going to take up my foot and I'm going to go into a pigeon toe, and I'm going to press each one of my toes into the ground and try and smear them until they're pointing straight ahead. This second toe is pointing straight ahead. That heel comes in and down, and notice how it creates that little wave structure of my foot, and my arch is really engaged. I'm going to do that with my other foot. Big pigeon toe, press my fingers, my toes into the ground, smear until that second toe points straight, heel comes in. Sweet, now I've got some strong feet, but then you'll notice if we go up just a little bit, my kneecaps are pointed out. So I don't want my kneecaps to be pointed out, I want my kneecaps to be pointed straight. The way that I correct this is at the hip level. I'm going to take my hips, I'm going to pull them to the sky and let my femurs rotate in until my kneecaps point straight. This is going to get me in my backside glute side. So if I go to the side posture, you'll notice this is very important. I'm going to start with my feet, create good feet structure. My knees are pointed out. I need to get them straight, so I'm going to pull my hips up and in. But notice how my hips are still behind my body. I didn't pull my hips up and in by thrusting forward. I need to pull them back. If we look at my kneecaps when I'm standing here, watch what happens when I pull my hips up and back versus up and thrusted forward. The kneecaps go into that same external position. So first thing, create good, strong base. Take the kneecaps and the femurs, pull them up and in so my knees are pointed straight or as straight as you can. And then I'm going to create some slight tension out with my feet to engage the lateral part of my legs and my glutes just a hair. The front of my hips, I want those to be relaxed. So we're going to take each one of our hands, grab our hips, and dig our forefingers into the front of our hips. We want this place to be soft. So we pull our hips back and our chest down to the ground until we feel softness in the front of our hips. Notice that if we squeeze and thrust our hips forward, all of this tissue becomes very tight. These are our hip flexors, the things that flex our hip. These are not our posture muscles. Our posture muscles are located in the backside, big hamstrings, big glutes, big spinal erectors. We want to use those guys. If we use our hip flexors and our quads and psoas, all of this is going to get really tight by the end of the day. We're going to feel tension here, and this is going to pull on our low back. So now let's stack these skills. Knees are straight, strong base of support, hands on my hips. I create softness in the front of my hips by pulling my hips back, chest comes down. Once I have that softness and I feel good, I feel my glutes engaged, then I'm going to stack my upper body, shoulder, and head on this strong hip-foot foundation. So I'm just going to slowly pull this spine up and my head back, my shoulders back until I feel pretty postured and upright. Now this is going to be our general place where we get to live. Strong base of support, knees pointed straight, hips are going to be engaged and behind us, and my spine, shoulders, neck, and head are all stacked on top of that. very important here. It might feel like a lot of work and feel like we're kind of in this place, but notice how this will create a standing posture where there's a possibility for a lot of movement versus thrusting my hips, bracing my core, and pulling my shoulders back. I become very rigid, statue-like. We want to hold a posture where I can move forward at any moment. So let's go through those one more time together. Create a strong base of the feet. Get the knees pointed straight by pulling the hips back into the sky. Create some lateral pressure wide until I feel my glutes in the outside of my legs. Make sure the front of my hips are soft. I'm just going to nicely stack my spine on top of that, shoulders and head. This is a very strong standing position because my hips, my spine, and my shoulders are all pulling back. My entire body is doing the same thing. So as if I was to fall myself forward, I feel my entire body pulling back. So all of my body is doing the same thing, pulling back, opening the front of my body, engaging the back side of my body. Once you find this standing position, hold it. Allow yourself to make adjustments at the shoulder, at the hips, at the feet. Do not try and hold on to any one position and create rigidity like a statue, but try and maintain these things while you do micro-organizations, and you have the ability to breathe in through your nose, through the bottom of your belly, the back of your rib cage, diaphragm, your lungs, neck, and the top of your head. Use your breath to feel, is there any place where I'm holding statue, concrete, kind of sticky place? We want to hold this general standing posture. In the beginning, it might feel like work, but eventually we want it to feel good for our body. One cue that a lot of people get when they feel this way, okay, I got here, boom, 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 now I feel a little bit of tension in my low back. Big posture cue for this is if you feel some tension right here, we're just going to pull that tension into a good place, like our glutes, with just taking our tailbone and just tucking it just a hair underneath ourselves. Just tuck it just a little bit until you feel most of the pressure, and that's holding your standing posture in the glutes and in the hips and not necessarily in the back. We want glutes, hamstrings second, and then third, the spinal erector to hold me upright. These are the same kind of muscles that I use to walk around. So the more that we can get my standing posture to be my walking posture, the more that movement becomes just my everyday posture. And that's what we really care about. We don't want you to have, oh, this is how I stand. Oh, this is how I walk. Oh, this is how I sit. No, we just want to say, this is how I own my body and how I feel good in this. So this is our standing posture awareness. Good job.